Hello, everyone. My name is Kathleen Moran, and I am here to tell you about a course I'm going to teach in June for Ollie called Edible Stories, Representing California Foodways. You see behind me an image from my syllabus and also a picture of a farmer's market, one of the earliest modern farmers markets that is on the street of Fairfax in Los Angeles in the late 1950s, early 1960s. Our course will focus on four really important food moments in California food history, beginning with what I call the second gold rush and the California dream. We'll begin our discussion of the California foodways in 1873, when two seedlings from the mutated orange tree found in South America were planted by Eliza Tibbets in her front yard in Riverside, California. The navel oranges that came from Eliza's trees were the beginning of what became Southern California's citrus empire. In a matter of a few years, the annual value of the orange crop vastly exceeded the value of all the gold produced in the state. California citrus groves were not only, however, a source of enormous fortunes, but the orange became the first modern celebrity fruit, the subject of paintings and murals, poems and songs and movies. It also inspired some of the most beautiful commercial art ever made in the form of orange crate labels, postcards, and souvenirs. In short, California's golden apple became linked in the American imagination with sunshine, with health, with modern nutrition, and with the myth of the California dream, a place of abundance. In other words, the orange became a symbol of California as much as a product. In the second week, we'll talk about food and the California home front during World War II. In How to Cook a Wolf from 1942, MFK Fisher wrote, "One of the most dignified ways we are capable of to assert and then reassert our dignity in the face of poverty and wars, fears, and pains is to nourish ourselves with all possible skill and delicacy and ever increasing enjoyment." Mary Frances Kennedy Fisher is one of California's greatest writers of prose, and her book is not only about how to cook various foods, but also how to feast and find joy and human connection in a world where those things seem to be getting lost. I think this is a really important lesson for us today. Fisher's connections to California are deep, and her life maps onto many of the developments that make our state such an interesting and important place. Fisher was born in Michigan, and her family moved to Southern California when she was a toddler because her father planned, get this, to buy a citrus grove. She grew up in a house with 13 acres of oranges. In the early 1940s, during the golden age of the Hollywood studio system, Fisher worked for Paramount as a screenwriter. And though she lived in several places in the United States and Europe, she spent important years in St. Helena in the Napa Valley and her last 20 years in Glen Ellen, California, parts of the wine country. We will focus in the third week on post-war California. By the late 1940s, California experienced another major population boom and led the United States into an era of suburbanization, big economic growth, and cultural and technological innovation. California's vast and highly productive agricultural sector supplied both national and global markets, and California became ground zero for the emergence of new forms of growing, producing, preparing, and eating food. To a great extent, also, California sold the modern industrial food system, for better or worse, to the rest of the nation, encouraging experimentation and convenience, as well as normalizing foods that had once been considered niche ethnic cuisine. And as the center of the American culture industry, post-war California not only fed Americans calories, the state fed our food imagination, so to speak, as TV and food advertising and magazine images turned eating from a private necessity to a highly mediated, aspirational, and ideological act. In week 4, we will visit the birth of California cuisine and the judgment of Paris, issues you probably already know a lot about. California cuisine is, as you know, a style of cooking that emphasizes fresh local ingredients, multicultural influences, and the culinary experimentation of our time. In the last week, we'll talk about the invention of California cuisine in the 1970s, focusing on Alice Waters' restaurant Chez Panisse with the menus created by Jeremiah Tower. We'll also discuss 2 Berkeley institutions, Pete's Coffee and the Cheeseboard Collective. And finally, we'll talk about the so-called Judgment of Paris and the rise of the California wine industry. You will be asked to watch 3 food films, and I will make sections of MFK Fisher's book and other writings available to you. This is a more casual class than the first one I taught for Ollie, because after all, everyone in the room is some kind of an expert in this topic. We all eat food, shop for food, prepare food, as well as look and read recipes, look at images, and generally enjoy food. So when we meet, I will provide tastings so that we can appreciate and share together some of the food moments that we're going to think about in our class. I really look forward to seeing you in June. Thank you.